Hi creative friends, welcome back to the Colour Cabin. So today I'm going to be creating some dangles and charms for my traveller's notebooks. I am definitely deeply ensconced in the leather journal era of my life. I am absolutely obsessed by these little books, and I have actually been eyeing up some others as well. So, but I've not made any purchases as yet, so we'll see. But for today, these are my collection of traveller's notebooks. So you can see there that I have 3 in the standard size and 3 in the passport size, in a few of the different colourways. And I want to make them look pretty. So I've gathered together some old bracelets, like you could see there, and other trinkets, some of them out of my jewellery box. So I've got some jewellery from my mum and my grandma, and some pieces from when I was much younger that just never see the light of day, and it seems such a shame that they just sit in my jewellery box. I won't wear them because they're just not to my taste anymore. So I thought, why not put them into use, something that I use all of the time, and then when I see them, it will bring back memories of where those particular treasures came from. So here you can see I've got a mix of things, like I said, some old bracelets, some necklaces and some other charms and things. And I'm going to pull them apart a little bit and just kind of repurpose them for jewels for my journals. So you can see there's quite a mix of different colours. There's some loose beads that I've actually cut from bracelets and removed. There's even old earrings in there that I'm thinking that I might be able to do something with. So to get started, I went on Amazon and I just purchased the jewellery pliers that you can see there on the left, and some jump rings and things as well, so that I can attach them. So I'm going to start off with this Love and Trip notebook journal in the red colour, and I think that the blues on this old necklace will work really nicely in contrast, and the silver heart earring I think I will turn into a charm. So using the pliers, it's just a case of figuring out where the joins are and then kind of pulling that apart, so that you can take the earring part of the earring off, and leave the heart. So next I'm taking out a jump ring, and I'll attach that onto the heart, and then I will be able to attach that onto the elastic closure for the journal. So you can see there it just pops on really easily. A bit fiddly, making sure that it doesn't come back off while I'm trying to get that back on the journal. Yeah, and then it's just a case of putting it on and closing that back up. Adding charms to my journal has been something that I've been thinking of for forever, and just something that I never quite got round to. I didn't have the little pliers, the jump rings, and there were always other creative projects to do. But like I say, deep in my leather journal era, and obviously you know, seeing things on socials and things. You see other people's journals with lovely charms and things. And there are obviously lots of different charms that you can buy either on Etsy or online. But I kind of thought it seemed madness to have things lying around in my jewellery box that were not being used at all, and that I could repurpose. And like I say, you know, every time I use these journals now, you know, I will think about the different pieces and things that are on them. So with this necklace, I want to create a spine dangle. So that will hang from the little button that holds the elastic on the spine at the top. So I could just take all of the charms off this necklace, but I thought that it made sense to try and use the chain. Now, the chain is very, very fine, and the links in the chain are really, really tiny. So this is a little bit fiddly. So I'm going to start by taking off the safety chain piece at the back, because those links are bigger and I might be able to reuse that for something else. So again, it's just a case of prising those jump rings open to remove that chain. Sorry for my hands keep slightly going out of shot. Obviously, whilst I was doing this, I was trying to look at the tiny chain details. The links on this chain are actually really, really small. So it is quite fiddly, and I hadn't realised that as I was filming, I kept slightly going out of shot. But I think you can kind of get the idea as to what I'm doing quite well. So now I'm using the snips to basically snip the chain so that then I can shorten the length of that chain. And this was quite tricky with such fine links on the chain. The jump rings really didn't go through those chain links very easily because of the thickness of even though I was using really small jump rings, the thickness of the jump ring itself compared to the thickness of the gap in the chain wasn't very big. So you can see there, I've just taken that larger part off, and I'm going to add it onto this shortened chain with the rest of the charms. And then when that dangles, because we've got that longer chain also on there, I can add some other charms and things to that and just kind of give that a little bit of extra length in interest. So with all those charms and things in place, I'm now trying to figure out how long I want this the main chain to be, and you could see there that trying to use the existing claw fastening, so I've put that to one end, and again this is the really fiddly bit now of trying to get that jump ring into position between that claw fastening and the chain links. So using these jewellery pliers is a little bit tricky. I am a bit all fingers and thumbs, but I think the more that you do this, kind of the more you'll get to know kind of exactly which way to do it. with the jump rings, the thing that I did find is that where the opening is, you want to kind of twist it open rather than pull it apart. I think when you pull it apart, it makes you lose the shape of the jump ring, whereas if you kind of twist it sideways, it just allows that gap to appear, and then you can twist it back and retain the circular shape of the jump ring. So now I'm just attaching both ends together with another jump ring on the chain, and you can see there, once that's in place, it's just a case of using the pliers to push that together. And the metal is surprisingly pliant. It does stretch and move, so it's just, I think it's more tricky just because of how tiny they are, but that's perhaps just me. Like I say, I'm all fingers and thumbs. So this is the little chain dangle, and you can see there that the length of that chain doesn't actually look very big at all, but actually when you put it up to the journal to attach, as you will see now, you don't need much chain at all really, because obviously the dangles take up quite a bit of space at the end. So you can see there that that's the basic elements of that dangle chain complete. Now at the top, you can see there is quite a lot of chain space left. So I decide to add some more charms just to kind of give some interest at the top of that as well. So it's just a case of digging through this pot and picking out some different silver pieces that will match in with those existing charms and things that are on there. So I picked out this little heart and added a few jump rings just again to give that some a different length on that main chain. You know, I don't want to place all of the charms in the same place, otherwise, you know, they'll just all blend into each other. So you want them all to look a little bit different. So put that little heart on, and now I'm going to put this dragonfly on. So again, that's just put another jump ring on, and then choose a spot on the chain for that to go. And because this charm's a little bit longer, this will provide some detail in that middle space just before the charms at the bottom of the chain start, so that you kind of have visual interest all the way down that piece. So you can see there I've added a couple more charms on there. That dragonfly is in place. I'm just making sure that that jump ring is nicely closed. Yeah, and there you can see that looks much better. There isn't, the chain's still there in the back, but there's some more interest leading to those charms at the bottom. So this is the finished dangle. There will be a better shot of this at the end, but I'm quite happy with how that looks. I love that contrast of the blue against the burgundy red of the journal, and the silver of those charms on the side just really nicely matches that front piece. So this is obviously one of the standard journals, so I'm just moving on to this now, and I've picked out a jewellery piece. So this piece used to be my grandma's, and I inherited it when she passed, and for the past oh gosh, 20 years. It's just been sat in my jewellery box, as it's not something that would typically go with, you know, I'm not really a big jewellery person. I don't tend to wear lots of jewellery, but, you know, I would get it out and look at it and think of her. And so you could see there that I unthreaded the elastic at the back, and threaded that through the jewellery hoop to attach. And then the dangle on the side is actually just a bracelet. So this is an old costume jewellery piece, and just the length of that was perfect for the side. Put that on, and I did actually add some additional charms onto that as well, just to fill it out slightly. Again, this is an old necklace that I've never worn in years and years, and I thought the colours suited this. I think the colour of this is actually blue on the Travellers Company website, but it's definitely a greeny blue. And I thought that the silvers, and it has got some purples, I think. I just thought those colours went quite nicely with the front of that journal. So I've cut the chain off each side, and now it's just a case again of attaching those jump rings, and then I can attach that piece directly onto that elastic to dangle at the front. So the tricky bit is just making sure that those jump rings are entirely closed. You know, some of these pieces are quite precious to me, and I don't really want them dropping off and losing them. So it's just making sure that they are, you know, firmly attached. Yeah. So you can see there, that's on. Can kind of spread those jump rings out to make it sit nicely on the front. I have left a tiny little length of chain at the top of each one of that main decorative piece. And then this is my dark brown journal. This is my ink journal. So again, you could see on the front that I've used an old locket that was my mum's, and then I felt that this old bracelet, the colours matched quite nicely. So again, I'm going to use this as a dangle on the side. So I removed the fastening at the end, and then that left some excess material that I've just snipped off. And then I will put or I think there might even be a jump ring at the bottom that you can see there. I've just attached some extra chain and an extra bead on there, and now I'm picking out some more beads from this pot that I feel that match, just to fill it up slightly and give it a little bit more going on, so that there's some more visual interest as that's hanging down the side of the journal. So I need to create a hoop so that these beads can be fastened onto the bracelet and will, you know, dangle like as the other ones do. So I'm just threading some flathead pins through the beads, and using the pliers, I twist that into a small loop at the top and then cut off the excess, and that gives me the hoop that I can then attach a jump ring to, and then attach that onto the bracelet. I hope that makes sense. So these little pieces, as I cut them, were flying all over the studio, so I'm sure that I'll be finding them for months to come, because I'm not quite sure where they all went to. be one of those that I'll be pulling things out and finding them. So you can see here, you know, with that in place, I can just use the jump ring then to attach that bead onto the side. So I added some all the way down, some at the bottom, you know, some in the middle, some at the top. So it was just kind of a case of working my way through those. And this is the finished piece. So next up is my olive green traveller's notebook. So this little charm was actually a necklace that my mum and dad gave to me for my 21st birthday. And again, fashions come and go, and it's just been sat in my jewellery box forever. So I thought it's going on the front of my journal. So it's actually an aquamarine stone, which is my birthstone. So I'm going to use this as kind of that focal point charm on the front, and I've just attached that again with a jump ring, and that will kind of hang on that elastic quite nicely. And then I'm going to dismantle this bracelet so that it's more laid up and create a dangle from this. So the first thing that I do is, again, I've gone slightly off camera, so apologies, but the bracelet is held together kind of with these little wires and jump rings and things. So I just use the jewellery pliers to split it into different sections. And this was just me eyeballing it, thinking about kind of which bits, because on the bracelet there's some smaller beads, some bigger beads, some more kind of focal point pieces. So it's just a case of deciding what I wanted to be grouped together, really, and then splitting that into the different sections before pulling that all together on one piece. So there's really no right or wrong way of doing this. It's just doing whatever you think is pleasing to your eye and, you know, works how you want it to work. You know, some people might not like a really long dangle down the spine of the book. You know, I've seen lots of people's journals online, and they literally just have one charm fastened to the top. You know, so each to their own. Do whatever makes you happy. Now, I've obviously looked at the length of that piece against the spine of the book, and I think it's just kind of that pearly coloured pebbly piece on that bracelet I thought was just too long, so I do end up taking that off and reusing it in another piece. I think I attach it to another one of the lengths, and I use the safety catch chain to create another dangle piece. So here it's just playing with the different beads and things from that actual original piece, adding to it, and then fastening it all together onto that claw fastening, so that it can be attached to the journal. So I'm going to stop twittering on for a minute, and I'm just going to leave you with some music just whilst I finish those steps of finishing those different strands and putting them all together into that finished journal, and then I'll pop back. So this is the dangle charm complete on the side of my journal, and I think you would agree that it doesn't really look much like a bracelet anymore after I split it into all those different pieces, but I think it looks lovely, and those colours really suit the green of that journal. And this is my collection of travellers notebooks all lined up, and I think these just look so scrummy. Honestly, I'm so pleased with how these turned out, and I think it will just invite me to use them more. You know, I'll put these on the shelf behind my desk, and I just know that they're going to look so precious that I'm just going to want to pick them up and work in them all the time. So I hope that's given you some ideas of things you can do with your own bits and pieces. You know, you could pick up extra jewellery at car boots or in charity shops and things and use things on there. I'm sure that I will be adding to these dangles and things as time goes by and I come across other treasures. So until next time, wishing you a happy creative week. Bye for now.